that is how you make an entrance. It's Coleslaw Cup, baby. Let's go. Starting ever so slightly late because this game loves to not do what it's supposed to do. Hopefully I hit the button to show you the screen you're supposed to be looking at. I think I did. Wonderful. I should probably check the audio levels. They look okay. They look okay. I think they look okay. You know, I need a second monitor. We need to start a second monitor fund, please. That would be nice. Then you wouldn't have to look at the pause menu. I don't know why I can't just tab out without the pause menu opening. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? But oh well. 18 drivers in here today. However, we may have a late arriving Knuckles. We should have a Sheldon Turtleton, but he is not racing today because he's an absolute clown. Yeah, that's... Shelley is a bozo. He is a clown. That's about it, really. We've got Scamney enjoying the sound effects. Who does not enjoy the sound effects? And who enjoys this track? Will Lusky enjoy this track today? He'll be hoping so for his championship hopes. By championship hopes, I don't mean hopes of winning the championship, but hopes of finishing second within it. Seems No Jug has that pretty much wrapped up. Hashtag No Jug out. Ooh, getting a little bit close there, but it was nice from Lusky, not Scavney. He's not racing. What am I talking about? Could have taken a little bit more on the exit there, but fine margins, and this is looking like a really solid bank lap so far from Lusky. Through the left-hander we go past the pit entry and to the final corner. A little bit of traffic ahead. The dirty air is not going to help him, though. We just have a little bit of a tow on the run up to the line. And a 1:16.9 is our current benchmark. Much quicker than Ginit to win it, but A-Dub goes in there with 1:16.5. And Lanzi with a 1:16.2, the first of the Red Bulls to cross the line. The Williams of Sharia Coleslaw puts himself up into P4. It's up on board with Scornsey. Look at that. That was called a shortcut. One of the quicker drivers in the lobby today, at least you would expect. We've got a Mercedes off at turn 1. It's probably Dace. 1:15.8 from Noja, going 4/10 clear of Lanzi. As we get the fastest first sector of the qualifying session so far, which granted has not been very long. Scornsey possibly encountering some traffic here though from an Alpine ahead. What is this guy doing? Really holds up Scornsey there. Who do we think that was? I think it might have been Osmanian Devil. Osmanian Devil has been named and shamed. I thought we saw it and he nearly got away with it, but he didn't. Unlucky Jin. Where were we? We were with Scornsey coming through the final corner. DRS wide open on the run up to the line. Crosses the line. Goes P2. 1:16.2. Good showing so far from the Red Bull boys. No Jug has invalidated on what I can only assume is probably an outlap. An in-lap, sorry. Who hasn't set a time? Dace hasn't. What's he doing? He's just approaching these yellow flags here. He sets a purple middle sector, at least according to the game. Not sure if you can really trust that. That's telemetry. We don't want that enabled. Who are we? Jacko? Sector 3 is Dace. The one up to the final corner, a car ahead of him. That will be the Red Bull of Lanzi. Oh! Oh! Oh no. And it's P4 for Dace. So crosses the line, set A1, 16.5. What's DC Manaman doing? He's usually pretty quick. And a lot of cloud given for today's race, though it does not look likely that there will be rain. Through the final corner comes DC Manaman. He's got an Alfa Romeo just ahead of him, going pretty slowly through that final corner. Who could that be? An Alfa Romeo that's also going slowly. Absolutely fantastic racing line there, as always. Anyway, Beamer won't get wheeled into the garage, it's no jug. The Aston Martin driver that does know how to drive starts his outlap. P7, DC Manaman on either an in-lap or a cool-down lap. Hydration, ladies and gentlemen. Who am I kidding? Gentlemen. Calibop, he is up on his banker lap thus far. The McLaren there, Slayer Eyes, getting out of the way nicely as Army retires from the session. Massive elbozo moment there. And Ginit doing the same. So we've got a Mercedes about to go past. Oh, but it's not Dace, and I'm going to miss it. Oh, I haven't missed it. Where is Matt Legin? Oh dear. That is not the optimal racing line here, is Scavney. I definitely realised that he was taking part in this race. That is one way to... That's not an invalidation? Really? God damn. Scav, the man with a plan. Sheesh. Well up on his best time, and then he throws it all away. Commentator's curse coming in with stunning effect there. And on the run up to the line is Osmanian Devil DRS wide open up to P13. So jumps Matt Legin, who is now retired. So that's one position he is guaranteed to retain. Please get off of the deafening onboards. The audio bounce in there, I mean, oof. Not sure if I can adjust that myself. I don't think you can. But perhaps it's possible. It does make sense that it would be louder if you're on board, but you'd hope they'd be balancing that out because it's just suddenly deafening the second you end up on board. A little bit of lag occurring there, but we move. DC man on his outlet. Slayerized up on his best time as well. Approaching the final corner of the lap. Plenty of curb on the exit, DRS wide open, crosses the line and up to P9 he goes, jumps Coleslaw, who himself is not on a hot lap, is on an in lap I believe. Here's Brooklyn Robert going into the pits, and Scavney about to cross the line, set a fast lap of a 1:16.7, enough for P8 in the standings for number 49. VTech, I think that was, just jumping up there to P16, unless it was somebody else jumping up and him going down. I did see movement in that area. It must have been someone else because VTech is in third sector currently. Beamer Blunt is well off the track there, but doesn't get an invalidation. I'm not too sure. Perhaps he lost time. It did look like he lost time. So through the final corner he goes, and up to P17, elevates himself over the bottom positions by way over a second. Scornsey sets the fastest second sector of the qualifying session so far as he approaches now the final corner. Can he jump up to provisional pole? Can he do it? Crosses the line. Will he get up to P1? No, he won't. Exactly 1/10 behind No Jug. Oh, I had the soundboard lined up. I had it all ready to go as Lansley's actually well up on his time. It's not going to be enough for pole position, it doesn't look like, but a good lap time here from Lansley extends his advantage over P4 with a 1:16.0. Dace unable to reply immediately as he is in the pits. Adub not on a hot lap, or perhaps he is. It didn't look like he was as he exited that corner, and considering he's in the 2 minutes at the moment, I don't think he was on a hot lap, so perhaps my first assumption was correct. In P7 is DC Manaman. YouTube DMCA claim man himself. Approaches the corner where we saw Scavney invalidate. Boom. Call me the Oracle, baby. What's Adub doing? Bit of curbing on the entry there as well, perhaps unsettling the car, but doesn't seem to phase him as No Jug set to 1:15.5 to extend his advantage on provisional pole. You'd think one time he'd just try not to qualify and have a little bit of fun starting from the back, but I suppose Hungary is not the track that you'd want to do that. I'm definitely experiencing a little bit of lag, the game not being fully cooperative today on launch as well, so we were delayed a couple of minutes. Adub up by just under a tenth of a second. There also were about 75 billion tabs open for coursework, but we move. Not like that would have that much of an effect on this, but there we go. Through the final corner comes Adub and the one up to the line. DRS opens for the Ferrari man. P4 he goes, jumps up ahead of Dace. What's going on here? VTech's not going very quickly. No Jug isn't either. Both of them sort of just vibing. Adub though, 2/10 up through the first sector. That can't be right. I think the game was lying. Yes, it was indeed. Of course it was. VTech pulling to the pits as we get a lull in proceedings here. Everybody sort of in sync and not on runs currently. Not entirely sure what No Jug is doing out there. Starts another lap but not enabling the DRS. Adub having a little bit of fun out there. Hop on board with Slayerized as he starts his flying lap. Through turn 1 we go. DRS open for the second DRS straight of the lap. through this long left-hander where we saw Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo come to blows all those years ago, which is sounds strange to say now because that feels like only yesterday those two were fighting in the Red Bull. But not the case anymore. Slayerized up on his time as he makes his way now through the second sector. How well will he navigate the chicane? Taking a nice amount of speed through there as Tasmanian Devil retires in the pits. We have what looks to be no jog out there as well, out of fuel I believe, as the yellow flag is following him rather closely. A purple middle sector supposedly from Slayerized, which is something I do not believe. Apologies to Slayerized. But I'm going to have to press X to doubt on that one, unfortunately. Through the final corner he goes. No jog retires from the session. A-Dub does the same. They will be taking no further part in today's qualifying session. Across the line goes Slayerized, improves slightly, gets himself up to P10. Hightower, now that's a man on a mission. Just under 0.3 of a second up on his time. I say just under, it was about 2.5, but let's round it up. Be generous to Hightower. He manages to keep himself in bounds as well through the final couple of corners leading up to the very final corner that he uses the curb in on the exit there, has the DRS wide open, comes a little bit centrally on the track, which is rather strange, perhaps lost a slight amount of time steering there where he didn't really need to, but he gets himself up to a respectable P13. Now here's Lanzi through the first sector. He has his teammate Scornsey behind him at the beginning of the sector in P2. These guys both now with the opportunity to jump up to P1. No jog unable to respond as he's now consigned himself to taking no further part. I'm not sure if that's even a word. I mean, you could say resigned himself to taking no further part, but I think I'll just revolutionise the English language on the daily, don't I? It's just one of them. Ooh, this could be a little bit Susie Backer here for NLR No Jug. I don't think it will be. Lanzi would still have to pull a 2 or 3 tenths out through the final few corners, but it's certainly possible. Never mind. What can Scornsey do? Of course, the timing's nice and incorrect when we get to him. Will he spin out here just like his teammate? No, he won't, as he doesn't suffer from a skill issue. Can he jump up to P1? Can he do it? Will he be in P2? He can't do it. He stays P2, unable to improve on his fastest time. Where is the flying fish? He's invalidated, and he's not flying so much as sinking at this moment in time. Lusky on a hot lap as well. He's looking to jump ahead of Dace, his rival for P2 in the constructors, in the drivers' championship. Sorry. Can he jump Dace? Please, come on, let me use it. Let me use it. Come on, let me use it. Can he jump Dace?
Bang! Bang! It's good!
P4. Underwhelming use of the soundboard, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. DC Man just under 0.2 of a second up on his fastest time as well. He's looking to rub more salt into the wounds for Dace. Not like Dace would mind that being... Actually, he would mind that because Dace are a freshwater fish, so... Ah, there he goes. Dace continues his plunge towards the bottom, which is, I suppose, sinking is what you would expect from somebody who is unable to swim. Fun fact there about Dace, he's got the same name as a fish. Calls himself the Flying Fish. Sort of adopted that moniker from other people. He refers to himself as the Flying Fish, but he himself cannot actually swim. Rather ironic. So anyway, there is your grid for the race. Didn't see any grid penalties showing up, so this will be final. We have NLR No Jug on pole, shock horror. Scornsey P2 and his Red Bull teammate Lanzi P3. Good showing for the Red Bull boys. Lusky P4 in that Alpine with A-Dub P5 in the Ferrari, the Williams of Scavney and the Aston Martin of DC Manaman P6 and 7. Dace in P8, disappointing from him with Electric Blade just behind him. Mercedes, the Silver Arrows with a double disappointment there. Sharia Coleslaw rounding off the top 10. Then we have Slayerized, Kelly Bob, Hightower, VTEC, Asmanian Devil, Matt Legin and Beamer Blunt rounding off today's races. Ooh, Rap got it at the end there. Now, I was having a think before on what we could do during this brief interlude that we always seem to find ourselves perplexed at the oh goodness me, I can't. It's we're perplexed when confronted with considering what to do to keep ourselves occupied. So there's a little funny thing that's popped up on my Google search bar as well. It's the anniversary of the Sutton Hoo archaeological discovery, which is they dug a load of Anglo-Saxon stuff up. Oh, they dug up a whole wooden boat that survived being buried for over 5,000 years. How interesting. Now, I don't unfortunately think... Oh, see, that's the calendar. That shouldn't show anything. That will show nothing. That should be the old ass standings. It is, and that's the starting soon screen. Yeah, so I'd have to add a new source if I wanted to accomplish what I want to accomplish right now. We'll save that for next week, but next week, if I remember, which I probably won't, we will have something new to keep us occupied. Talking about keeping us occupied, we have been kept occupied for the entire time, honestly, between the start of this interlude and the ending of it, as long as I can keep talking for the next 13 seconds, which you'd think for a commentator would be pretty easy, but you would be surprised at my ineptitude. You really would, because it's 4 seconds left and I'm starting to actually really struggle now, because I didn't plan this out in my head beforehand, but we get to 0. We don't fail. We don't fall at the last hurdle like Lanzi on his qualifying lap. No. We make it through the attrition and we hide the UI because we are not amateurs. There is our predict the pit stop strategy. If you were paying more attention than me, then you would have seen that. Why on earth is this also low? Thank Christ that that's been solved. Goodness gracious me. Anyhow, another thing you'll notice, we make progress here every single week. God, it is, you know what? I'm kicking off. Have that. Try and be loud now. I'm turning it down in my headset too. Goodness me, that audio is so much louder than it was in qualifying for no apparent reason, at least on my end. Oof, what was I even talking about? Ah yes, always making progress here on the stream. Got a new USB cable this week. Shouldn't have to worry about it being disconnected the whole time. I booted up the game today, earlier to start the stream, and it was doing it again, the whole pausing thing, being disconnected the controller, and I thought, goodness me, the controller must be broken. I've gotten a new cable and it's not fixed. And then I realised I was still using the old one. Swap that over, and it's going well so far. The only pauses have been through my sheer inability. Wow! Oh, that was almost really, really, really cool. But it wasn't in the end. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, the only pauses are from me tabbing out because I only have the one monitor. Hashtag Willan's Monitor Fund. Hashtag GoFundMe. Whoa, there goes Solarized. Wonderful little pirouette there from the McLaren, who will promptly find himself disqualified unless he actually manages to recover from that and still park up. Fair play to him. Almost pulled it off. Didn't quite. Well, here we are. Woohoo, let's quickly try and jump to the front if we can. And it's lights out and away we go. A little bit of a delayed start there as Scornsy gets a really good jump on Nojug. Nojug's going to be down to P2 by the time they get to the braking zone for the first corner. He may even have Lusky up his inside as Lanzi's had a pretty bad start. Let's watch on board from Lusky as Lanzi comes around the outside. Nojug tries to hold it around the outside of the Red Bull but can't. Lanzi with a little bit of a tap there on Lusky, but he manages to take the position. A little bit of lag going on, but we can still see what's going on here. And what's going on is a battle for the lead between Nojug and Scornsy. Nojug on a harder compound of tyre though, and that has put him at enough of a disadvantage for him to have lost the P1 position. Lanzi even attacking Nojug here as well, not managing to quite get the move done. Scavney making his way past rear Coleslaw as Lanzi touches that inside curb in there and gets away with it. Very fortunate indeed, because it can really unsettle the car, and yeah, you don't want to go spinning off. So Scornsy leads from Nojug. Scornsy will be wanting to pull out a second gap before he pits between lap 16 and 22 if he's to stick with the one-stop strategy here today. I do hope that the lag does fix itself. Definitely had some issues though with the connectivity on the game's end. It just wasn't syncing up the friends lists and things between people, but not a usual occurrence. This game does have many flaws, but that hasn't been one of them for the last few weeks. Goodness me, it was not this bad in qualifying. Anyway, Scornsy has broken the 1 second gap to NLR Nojug, meaning that he will not have the DRS on Scornsy to attack for P1, but Lanzi will have the DRS on Nojug come the next time they cross the line to start lap 3. Lusky all over the back of Lanzi as well. Lusky's shown a real uptick in pace this season. He's doing a fantastic job in the Alpine. Beamer Blunt, around he goes. And for whatever reason, everything is dying. And I don't know why. And it's back. But everything is in the wrong place. And I feel like Beamer Blunt there has just been a little bit silly. Scornsy sets the fastest lap of the race so far. And we do still have this working, so sorry about the interlude there. Anyway, Scornsy gets the fastest lap and Lanzi and Nojug are side by side. Nojug losing yet another position. Lanzi getting a little bit squirrely on the exit, but manages to keep it on the straight and narrow, and Lusky may even be looking to challenge for a podium place now over NLR Nojug, who is really struggling on those hard tyres, as you would expect. At a track that is so it's just so corner intensive. Beamer Blunt retiring in the pits after his silly little escapade in the second sector. Electric Blade gaining on Sharia Coleslaw, and I tell you what, this past week or so it has started getting hot at night. Oof, with this PC going, goodness me, I am dying. Of course, can't have the window open either because it's 3 o'clock in the morning and other people live around here, and I'm yelling about pretend race cars on the internet. Lusky looking to make a move into turn 1 but can't. Electric Blade gets himself past Sharia Coleslaw, who may look to fight this one back, but I don't think he'll be able to, and Electric Blade will pick up the DRS as well, so no way back in for the Kraut Salat. Yellow flags are flying. It's for Army. Anyway, let's go back to what matters, and that is the fight for the podium positions. Scornsy has well and truly checked out at this point. If Lusky starts to attack Nojug a little bit, you may see Lanzi escape from Nojug as well. I think it's very clear that there is a big grip disadvantage for the hard tyres. Kalirov makes his way past VTEC as well, there it looked like. And here they come filing onto the main straight. No one really close enough to anybody to make any inroads, as NLR Nojug did gain a little bit on Lanzi, gets a little bit of oversteer out of turn 1, but he couldn't get anywhere near close enough to make a move, and that DRS I think I'll hazard a guess and say is the only thing keeping NLR No Jug in range of Lanzi at this moment in time. Of course, the track temperature is not going to be as high as you might always expect here as well, considering the overcast conditions, and so a hard tyre with a very high temperature window as well may be slightly struggling due to that situation as well. No Jug ran wide there as well, perhaps picking up a warning for that, which is not what you want to do, and it does look like his pace is starting to increase a bit. Those hard tyres starting to come into their own a little bit more than they did at the start, where they would have been just so cold. Of course, as the mediums continue to wear at a faster rate than the hards as well, that will also bring the tyre compounds closer together in terms of performance. And there goes No Jug! Oh, there he goes. We got a front row seat to that one. All the way down to P11 thus far. Did he pick up any damage? It did look like he hit the wall. Yeah, he did pick up damage on the left hand side of his wing as well. He's missing that left end plate, and he's going to find himself under pressure from Calirob before the end of this lap, I'd imagine. Oh yeah, he's really struggling. No Jug losing a lot of time, struggling to make the corner, and VTEC will be past him soon as well. Matt Legin makes his way past Army Forever, who has no defence. DC Manaman joins the club with NLR No Jug. Should possibly catch him before the end of this lap anyway, regardless of that. VTEC catching up as well. We've got yellow flags ahead. That's for the McLaren of Slayer Eyes. He finds himself off and in the wall as well. Manages to resist the urge to rejoin suddenly. As here goes VTEC around the outside. Let's just pretend that was an overtake of merit. I mean, Lusky and A-Dub fighting as well here? No? No? Okay. Thanks, game. Regardless, let's just watch No Jug struggle, because it's not very often we get to do this. The vast majority of the time we're watching No Jug flying around the track at max 7. There is a great little fight here though, over the tail end of the podium positions, and the more you think about that incident from No Jug, the more you realise how much that is going to hurt him, because he started on those hard tyres as well. He's looking to go far into this race on those tyres, and now he has to box for the mediums. So he is going to be putting himself on a 2-stop race, I would imagine. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. Electric Blade and Shreya Coleslaw there, line astern as well, going through those corners. Where does NLR No Jug exit? A couple seconds ahead of Jinnit to win it on fresh medium tyres, so I would not be surprised to see a few purple sectors from him. Through the final corner comes Dace to start another potential attack on A-Dub. All of these guys, of course, promoted a place after the spin and subsequent crash from NLR No Jug. Shreya Coleslaw is still pretty close to the back of Electric Blade as well. He does have the DRS to assist him in that endeavour, and Dace can't quite get close enough as they approach the long left-hander that just seems to last forever when you're in the car. You just want to get the throttle down, you want to get the power, stop powering out of that corner, but you can't go too early, and yeah, it's one of those corners. Not too dissimilar from like half of the corners on China. On an unrelated note, China will also be in the new F1 game, even though it's not on the calendar. I suppose that's not an unrelated note when you're literally talking about the track, but I digress. What's going on there? It's Osmanian Devil and it's Army Forever. Osmanian Devil with the slipstream and the DRS. Should be a very easy move to the inside. He'll pick up a double dose of the DRS as well. He might go a little bit deep here, but I don't think Army's going to be able to come back at him. did look like Army was going to spin there for a second. But he didn't. So that's academic, I suppose. Dace getting very close to the back of the Ferrari of A-Dub. The scarlet red rear end with the Velas branding. Calibob putting the pressure here on Hightower, the Aston Martin man looking to make a move. Can't quite get it done yet though, or will he make it through here? He tries to take a slightly different line from the house ahead of him to give him any chance of getting by, but there's just not much he can do then. He probably picks up a warning for that, as well as he didn't seem to lift off very much. Mojog setting the fastest lap of the race so far, not a surprise, but he's got a lot of ground to make up. He's approaching turn 1 as the leader approaches the third sector, so not a great situation there, and that is, I think, Matt Legin, who has found himself going around. Nothing personal had to be done. And Electric Blade still under so much pressure here from Sharir Coleslaw. Goodness me, English is difficult at this time of night. Oof. Almost sounded Dutch. Sharir Coleslaw under the pressure there from under the pressure on Electric Blade. Off goes Matt Legin. Calibob makes his way past Hightower as well. The Aston Martin man finally getting that move done, and has the DRS as well to defend. Sharir Coleslaw still putting the pressure on Electric Blade. I feel like that's going to be one of those fights that you just end up commentating over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's Matt Legin finding himself in difficulties again. I'm gonna have arthritis in my soundboard clicking finger. What on earth is going on? None of that made any sense. I do not know what I've just witnessed. Anyway, here's Dace. Talking of not making sense. It's a man who's very good at that. Talent of his, so it should be celebrated. Unlike driving, which clearly isn't one of them. DRS wide open for the flying fish that cannot swim. He's approaching the back of A-Dub as he looks to make up positions after a disappointing qualifying session, and Matt Legin crashing out of the race and causing a safety car that may just bail out NLR Nojog. Straight into the pit wall. How peculiar. Anyway, that's a full course safety car as he decides to now leave the lobby, because I don't think you would want to stay and watch a race at 3:30 in the morning after you just crashed out of it. So, what are the permutations for the strategy from this safety car? I believe permutations is the right word. Oh no. We are likely to see the leaders pitting off of those mediums and onto hards, I would imagine. Though what happens here for Noja? Well, he does decide to pit, and he comes out again on another set of medium tyres. So fresh mediums for him. You've got to think it'll probably be lap 13-14 by the time we decide to get this race restarted. And so it could be perfectly possible for those mediums to last until the end, though they would take a significant amount of management. I'm not sure if it could be done. And Lancey's going to get held up here pretty badly actually by his teammate stopping just ahead of him. Will he lose any positions from it though? He did have a healthy enough lead, I think, over P3, 4, 5 and 6, and he does. Lusky though finds himself dropping down to P6, but that's because Dace... No, that isn't because Dace hasn't pitted. Dace has jumped in. Calibob stays out and inherits P2. Not quite far enough ahead though to take P1 from Scornsey. Unlucky there for Osmanian Devil, who finds himself caught up behind the leader. Here's a race. Effectively over at this point. Scornsy doing the decent thing there and letting Osmanian Devil get by him. That means Osmanian Devil can now go and unlap himself, though that may extend this safety car period out a little bit as well. No Jug, though, you see, under the safety car now, when a lot of drivers are going very slowly, isn't quite able to do the same. He has to try and catch up to the safety car queue, which is a couple sectors ahead of him, so he is going to be burning through those medium tyres. Perhaps not at the full rate that you'd expect from the race, but certainly at a higher rate than under a normal safety car period. Oh, goodness me, let's take this opportunity to have a little look-see through our soundboard. What noises do we have that we can play? You know, it took me so long to set up a soundboard system using two keyboards. I had to download software that allowed the keyboards to be registered separately and one of them to not be registered as a keyboard but as a stream deck essentially, and the buttons would be mapped to that for the soundboard and not to the normal keyboard. A whole rigmarole essentially. Very next week, Discord had a new soundboard feature, don't they? Of course they do, so I can just do it with the click of a button now. Very easy, very intuitive, well laid out with a nice UI, sprinkles with a cherry on top. Typical, isn't it? It's just like in GTA. When I bought the yacht, I bought the biggest, most expensive yacht on GTA Online. I called it the SS Paolo Banchero, after future Hall of Famer Paolo Banchero. 2 days later, half price yacht sale. There's probably about 6 million of GTA money lost. Anyway, let's not get too distracted about that. We have our normal ones that we use quite a lot. We've got an I concur. We've got a scream. Oh, that was a good one. We have an oof. We have a bit of Will Smith.
Oh, that's hot.
A doobie.
I'm a gnome, and you've been
Gnomed. That was rubbish. That wasn't even like the actual C. That was terrible. That was too quiet, though. It is a good one. There's another scream. Long distance scream. There's a bass, and I'm too scared to click it. Oh, you know what? Fuck. We live life on the edge here. Oh, hey, yeah. Okay, that was cool. I'm glad I clicked on it. We've got Harry Maguire. We're not going to click on that one. We've got Donde Esta Messi. I'm not going to click on that one. We've got Vuvuzelas from the World Cup 2010. We most certainly are not going to click on that one.
Peter, the horse is here.
The horse is here. There is black and yellow. What are you? A bee? What else? We've got boom. Okay, we've got he, haw. Very descriptive labelling. We've got rar. Oh, that one's good. That'll be a good one. Jin goes off to bed after explaining that he had no wing. I can see how that happens. He just understeers into the wall. silly mistake. Clash of Clans. Let's go. Me when no one doing that with that. Hey radio. Dace be like, oh come the fuck on, man. Anyway, we're ready to start again. We will start again when the duck quacks. There it is. Scornsy leads the pack away, gets a good jump from Calibob, who may be the cork in the bottle and just what Scornsy needs to relieve himself of the pressure from behind. Lusky going down the inside on Scavney, looking to make up the position. Alpine versus Williams. And they almost touched there. We've got that tie tower that's gone spinning off as well. But let's keep our eyes forward on the top 10. Any moves going on around here? We've got NLR Nojug making his way through the field. He's already up into P12 on those fresh mediums. Electric Blade all over the back of Scavney as well. Caliwab will be finding himself under pressure from Manzi pretty soon as well. Manzi will desperately need to get his way past, and Sharia had to be done. Doesn't matter that you're the namesake of the league. You spin, you get banana peel. Nojug all over the back of DC Manaman as he looks to salvage his race from another unforced error that we've become accustomed to with Nojug. Perhaps not accustomed to, but we've seen that they certainly happen. His consistency does not reflect his pace, though when your pace is that high it is difficult to reflect it with your consistency. A little bit of lag going on there, but we go to the inside. If we is Nojug, I suppose. And that's a position for Nojug. Up into the top 10 he goes. Dace all over the back of A-Dub as well. Dace looking to get his way past the Ferrari man. Almost a second clear now is Scornsy from Calirob, and just like that he is a second clear. Calirob out of the DRS range of the Red Bull man and continually under pressure from his teammate behind. Then there's Nojug on VTech. VTech gives him a good old squeeze. They're going to touch there, and that's a good save by Nojug. That might end up in a stew zoom. It might put him under pressure from DC Manaman, but not quite. A stern defence there from VTech. A very stern defence. Oh, I hit it twice. I didn't mean to do that, but there's Nojug going for the move. May finally get it done here. Nojug. VTech can't send it down the inside there to keep the position, and he's going to lose out. Though he definitely did slow Nojug down. DRS enabled from race control. Lenzi won't quite get it yet though, because the detection point was before the start-finish line. In fact, it was before the final corner. Manzi may not even need it though. He's looking to make the move already, so we've got a spin there. That's Army doing Army things. Dace watches on from behind, kind of like a cook. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely unhinged. I do apologise. For goodness me, that was not acceptable conduct. Fuck. Shit. Alright, anyway, A-Dub all over the back of Ramsey. Lap 17 is when that happened. I'm going to have to remember that. DC Manaman in P11 all over the back of VTech. We always have one soundbite per race of absolute ludicrous nonsense, and that makes up the Hungary portion of that, I suppose. I'm not sure if you could exactly call it nonsense, because I suppose it would be accurate. So I suppose by definition not nonsensical. However, I think that's besides the point. Regardless, Lanzi still on the back of Caliber, but he can't make his way past the Aston Martin driver, who is on much older hard tyres. Let's get the tyre graphic out of the way. Oh, let's not replace it with a stops graphic. Let's have a look at this though. Who's won, who's lost? Well, Calibob's made up 10 positions from where he started, though he is going to still have to pit, so that won't be fully reflected. Goodness me. Dace in P5, he's made up 3 positions. Scornsy's made up the 1 as he got past No Jug before turn 1. That leads us on nicely to the biggest loser so far. That is going to be NLR No Jug. That mistake cost him dearly. Talking about mistakes, I nearly said, oh, okay, yeah, okay, no, it's fine. Scabney nearly makes a mistake. I almost said, thinking of mistakes, there goes Scabney, and I realised what that sounded like. Not what I intended. Will Lanzi finally get past Calibob? Let's watch on from Calibob's vehicle. Lanzi goes and looks to make the move around the outside and then switch back to the inside to pick up the better exit. It looks like he's going to come up short yet again. He just can't get close enough, and that's good defensive driving as well from Calibob. And VTEC retires. It looks like a big crash at the end of the straight, and that is going to be another full course safety car. VTEC perhaps having some contact there with, was it maybe Slayer Eyes? Let's have a look, see if anybody has any damage as well. Perhaps it was DC Manaman. DC Manaman, was it you? Don't see any damage. I think Scavney was a little bit too far ahead to have been caught up in that, and I think Hightower was behind it, so not sure exactly what happened. This may finally be the point at which Calibob decides to pull the trigger and pull into the pit lane. I'd be surprised if he didn't. And we are well over, no, maybe not well over, but we're certainly over halfway through this Grand Prix now. As the second safety car period begins, we will bring the tyre graphic straight back up again. I think we'll see pretty much everybody coming into the pits. That looks like that's Scornsy continuing on. Lanzi continuing on as well. See, a set of fresh tyres will be incredibly powerful right now, though you do have to remember the fact that it can be a difficult track to overtake at. Electric Blade picking up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, rather foolish of him. Scabney is into the pits as well. DC Manaman, Slayerized and Hightower all into the pits as well. Shreya Coleslaw carrying on. He's going to gain a wealth of positions down this main straight, though he will have a tyre disadvantage come the restart. Tasmanian Devil P14, he also stays out and gains a few positions, though he is going to come out, I think, behind Scavney there. Yes, he does. Oh, goodness me, I am so tired. Tired of people causing safety cars. Where is it? Don't even know what on earth is going on or what they're saying or anything. I just hear noises, but I hope it's not like Romanian for like every slur on earth. That wouldn't be great.
Peter,
Hey, Peter.
the horse is here.
Sheesh. Oh, I'm sounding kind of hoarse at the moment, to be honest. Oof. Let's take a look at the penalty situation. 5 seconds for Electric Blade, 3 seconds for Osmanian Devil, and that concludes the penalties. Everybody doing a pretty good job actually of staying within track limits. So of course only Osmanian Devil has picked up a track limit penalty. Electric got it for being a bozo and speeding into the pit lane. We should see the resumption of racing action this lap, come the end of this lap, of course, and No Jug is all the way up to P6 now. Slightly concerning for the top guys, but I'm certainly not going to go out there predicting a No Jug win, because we know No Jug is NLR no composure when he isn't leading a race by 2 or 3 seconds. So we'll have to watch that with a keen eye. But so far it is a Red Bull 1-2 with Ferraris and Mercedes just behind them and Alpine in the top 5. Who says that games don't reflect real life? Seems pretty realistic to me. Only difference is this race has been entertaining. Unlike this past weekend. Which I think... I don't think anybody thinks it was a thrilling race, but some people disagree on me and it being boring, but that's okay. It's fine. People are allowed to be wrong. And I tolerate them being wrong. Regardless. Scornsey looks to restart for the second time this race. Do we watch it from Scornsey's perspective? Do we watch it from Lansley's perspective? Psych, we're going to watch it from A-Dub's perspective. Big traction control guy wants to get a big safety car restart. Takes the wide line here. He goes high like his IndyCar spotter has seen a wreck on the bottom. Tries to get the exit. Doesn't quite get it. Lansley swerving all over the place. He's going to put himself under a little bit of pressure here. Inadvertently. Not quite sure if that's allowed. Army Forever doesn't make it to the finish line before instantly fucking up. And DC Manaman gets his way past Tasmanian Devil. Tasmanian Devil thinks about coming back at him and then realises that he's just going to hit the rear of him if he keeps trying that, so he doesn't. Slayer Eyes gets past Tasmanian Devil perhaps into this next corner. We'll have to wait and see. Too wide into a corner where you don't usually see it, and wisely backs out. Talking about going too wide into corners that you don't usually see it, it's Lusky and No Jug side by side, and neither are giving an inch. Lusky manages to retain that position, and Calibob actually manages to get his way past No Jug, who gets squeezed off of the track. However, briefly there, by 2 cars into 1, not working out on that occasion for NR No Jug. Calibob says thank you very much, and the thing to remember here as well is I believe Calibob will be on fresh mediums. Yes, he is. So Calibob, not a slow driver himself either, has a big tyre advantage now. He can push on. A challenge for the podium positions. I think Scornsey is going to be too far gone. He's already pulled over a second to his teammate, who's going to be a cork in a bottle, if necessary, to ensure those points for Red Bull in the constructors. Calibob under pressure here from No Jug, who goes down the inside. They do touch, and now it's a drag race. Neither driver having the DRS. No Jug tries to hold it around the outside of Calibob. Calibob's going to have the better line though as they approach the next corner, and No Jug has to back out of that one again. He may come back at Calibob though. No Jug desperate to get the win here. Not settling. And he does go off track a little bit there, it looked like, to try and get the move done, but they're still going to be side by side as they approach the chicane. B on the inside did not work for No Jug here last time out, but this time it's going to work swimmingly because Calibob is going to cede that position, at least until the next corner. Can't quite come back at the Alfa Romeo man into there. It would have been a little bit chaotic if he did. But chaos is entertaining. Chaos, chaos, eternally chaos, madness, chaos, nighttime chaos, daytime chaos, eternity chaos. Poetry, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on in P11? It's DC Manaman. What's DC Manaman doing? He's trying to catch up to Sharir Coleslaw. Is he succeeding? That remains to be seen. He's going to be under pressure from Styris as well if he doesn't get past Sharir soon, and that's what he wants to do. He goes to the outside, tries to sweep all the way around the outside of the Williams man, who defends on the inside. They keep it nice and clean through turn 1, and with the tyre advantage, DC Monoman gets that move completed, and Sharir has to settle for P11. Slayerized. Looking a little bit interested on the back of that fight as well. Electric Blade on the back of Calibob, looking to make a move perhaps through this section. Doesn't look like he is going to be able to. No Jug has a little look to the inside of Dusty. Make sure Dusty knows that he is there in the wing mirrors. It's all about the mind games. Jose Jorginho picks up a 3-second time penalty just as we look back and watch the tyres disappear over the white line. Or should I say the white line disappear underneath the tyre? I suppose that's more of a philosophical question that we all ask ourselves at some point. Tight to the inside of the corner is NLR No Jug, who then exits and has the DRS to try and attack his foe, which is Dusty Husky, who also has the DRS from the car ahead, keeping him safe for the time being, unless NLR No Jug wants to make a dive, but he doesn't. And can he get a better exit here than Scavney? Though he takes a tighter line, which would indicate that Lusky, sorry, not on Scavney, on Lusky. Goodness gracious me. Isn't able to make a move just yet. Neither is Electric Blade, who runs wide, and off goes No Jog. Oh, big impact into the wall. It's not really a banana peel moment, actually. I was going to hit him with a banana peel. Let's just hit him with the Fortnite ear rape. That is game over for NLR No Jog. He's going to be resigned to finish him at the back. Hightower less than half a second behind Sharia Coleslaw. And Dace pretty close to Ada as well for the last of those podium positions. He's got Lusky just behind him as well, trying to make an impact. And Calirob is there in amongst it as well. There's 9 laps remaining. And we've basically got 5, 6 cars, 7, maybe even 8 if you want to be very optimistic. Cars fighting over P2. NLR No Jug retires in the pits, finally gives up. By retiring, he gives his closest rival the opportunity to move within 25 million points of him in the championship standings. Of course, joking, it's within 30,000 million. Which I think is a higher number than the one I gave before, though to be honest I don't recall. Calirob on the back of Lusky, that's probably the 7th time I've said that within the past 30 seconds. So the fight continues for these podium positions. Neither driver, it's not even neither, it's a signified duality, but none of the drivers in the top 2 to 7 wanting to give an inch here. They all want a podium position, but there's not enough podium spots for all of them. Down the inside goes Calirob, and Lusky laughs at him and keeps on going, and Electric Blade decides to take advantage of this and perhaps attack Calirob, but he can't quite get close enough to make the move. Hightower on the back of Sharia Coleslaw, down the inside he goes. Sharia struggling to defend from that one, tries to maybe cut back against him, but finds a rear tyre in the way, and he's unable to do anything about that. Electric Blade on the back of Calirob through the chicane. Calirob himself just behind Lusky, and then there's a little bit of a gap, not much of a gap though. Up to Dace, Adub and Lanzi in the fight for P2. Sharia Coleslaw and Hightower fighting once more. Sharia Coleslaw makes his way past Hightower, who then flies straight past Sharia, who it seems let him go back by him. Not entirely sure what quite happened there. Scornsey though leads the way in P1 as he begins lap 28 of 35, a dominating race. Dominant race. Goodness me, what is wrong with me? No Jug's Ghost deciding to cause absolute chaos. Actually, I don't even think that's No Jug's Ghost, I think that's just Army Forever deciding to not even try and get out of the way under blue flags. Just because ghosting is enabled doesn't mean that you don't get out of the way when blue flags are waved. Unbelievably close fight here though. In the top 10, or should I say the top 9, as Hightower is not really in this fight. He's 8 seconds back, though he does have Fury Coleslaw just over a second behind him to keep him company, as Manian Devil deciding to give us a little bit of entertainment. Looks like he's got some wing damage there as well, perhaps hit the wall, but I don't think he did in that spin because there wasn't really the wall that close. I mean, perhaps he hit the interior wall. DC Manaman and Scavney. DC Manaman gets past because Scavney makes a mistake. I'm not going to say it was a spin, but also I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to banana peel the bozo, who then has to pull into the pits and probably can only try and grab faster slap. And oof, don't know if he nearly ginneted it then. It's manages to avoid that embarrassing fate. Electric Blade with not much to race for though, because he's picked up time penalties. And talking about time penalties, Dace does the same thing because he's a bottle job. Every single time. Every single time, without fail. A little bit of a bop. Fill it with a venom and lemon. A little bit of a wobble from Dace, it would seem, though he manages to keep it under control. There we go. Lusky and Calirob fighting side by side as Lusky made a mistake and let Calirob in there. And the Electric Blade may even look to get a run on Lusky as well. Will he look to the inside? No, he thinks better of it, breaks early and looks to try and get a better exit perhaps. Just keeping close in behind Lusky. Calirob doesn't look like he wants to give that position back anytime soon, and he does have the tyres to utilise in the pursuit of Dace ahead, who does have that time penalty as well. So he's looking at a net P4 so far, is Calirob. That penalty today is giving Adel and Lanzi some security as well. Lusky though wants to repass Calirob for P5 in this race. Will he look to break late around the outside and get this move done on those hard tyres? I think he's just going to get run out of road there and has to settle in behind the Aston Martin man. Can he get the exit on the run up the hill? It doesn't look like it. Turns around, he says, "Who do I look like?" No, Job. Only 5 laps remaining, and I know I did say, I think I did mention last week that we would do interviews this week, but starting next week we will have interviews. By next week my studies shall be concluded, meaning I will not have to be waking up early in the mornings anymore, and we will actually have interviews. That is a promise. Just as the last one was, I didn't keep. Running almost wide, but not actually almost wide. I'm just adding stuff in there for flavour. It's Dace. Approaching turn 1 with nothing to really fight for because he's gone and ruined it for himself by not staying within the white lines that are painted very clearly on the racing track. Lanzi doing just enough to keep himself clear of Adel for the time being as well. Scavney picking up the fastest lap of the race as I predicted, with that soft tyre that he has strapped onto the... Ooh, don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me... Williams? Hey, there we go. You can't tell the difference between these colours. I suppose someone with half a brain cell might be able to. Wayo goes Lanzi, lags a little bit, but only on my end. Calirob and Lusky also glued together in combination with Dace. The Gorilla Glue gang all stuck together. Talking about stuck, I need to stick a new string on my guitar because it broke. Electric Blade looking at getting all over the back of that Alpine, but can't quite manage it, and isn't going to be in a position to make a move up the hill either, and will likely have to wait until the next lap. Scornsy making his way through Sector 2 as well. He's only got a couple laps left now to convert a dominant drive into a win. Electric Blade ready to pounce on any mistake by Lusky, though any position he does gain at this point is likely to then be lost again through penalties. Gabby picking up a 3-second time penalty, but he's so far behind that it's irrelevant at this point anyway. Could see a move here. It's Calirob, and he's right up behind Dace. Tucked up in the slipstream, DRS wide open. He goes to the inside. Dace tries to defend. Switches back to the outside to get a better run through the corner. Just leaves enough space on the inside for Calirob, who then has the DRS, as does Dace. It's a straight drag race to the left-hander. And Calirob tries to hang that one around the outside. Dace tries to force him out of road, but Calirob's still there on the inside. They almost touch. Calirob has to duck back into the slipstream and think about making another attack at a different corner. Electric Blade picking up another time penalty as if he didn't have enough, and Dace doing Dace things. I said he'd bottled it when he got the penalty, and he wanted to prove me wrong by saying no, actually now I'm bottling it, and then spinning off. So yeah, good well done to him, proved a point. Talking about points, is Army Forever going to continue to make a point of not getting off the... What on earth are you doing, pal? Anyway. The guy waits until the chicane without even trying to make an effort to move off the racing line, and then once he's already being passed decides to cut an entire corner. Your guess is as good as mine. And what am I doing now? This is rather fitting. Want to make it even more fitting? Do it to a bozo. You thought we were done. That was a good one. Anyway, let's jump back up to the actual racing, the thing that I'm here to actually cover. It's the second penalised arrow. Need to come up with a different name for that. The silver arrows that find themselves in trouble with the stewards. The steward arrows doesn't work. The steward did arrows still doesn't work. Needs to roll off the tongue. Let's... Oh, good. Look, there's a car there. It's DC and Manaman going down the inside. We're going to have a drag race as I talk about absolute nonsense. Down the outside goes DC and Manaman. That's a sentence that makes sense. He gets past Electric Blade as I sit in the commentary booth and struggle to form a coherent sentence. Please send help. Says Osmanian Devil, not me. Haha, call an ambulance, but not for me. It's for Osmanian Devil. He's in the wall. Scabby goes. Doesn't go past actually. That was a lapping car of Scornsy, our race leader, who is now on the final lap. How the hell did that happen? Okay, he's got 2 more corners to go. You can't see that because there's no camera on, but I just held 3 fingers up. 3 fingers up, thinking that was 2. I'm struggling, man. Scornsy through the final corner he goes and weaves all over the place, crosses the line and wins the Hungarian Grand Prix here in the Coleslaw Cup. His teammate Lanzi will cross the line to make it a Red Bull 1-2, just like real life, and A-Dub crosses the line for a well-fought podium. Calibub taking home a very nice P4, Lusky a P5 as he extends his advantage over Dace in the championship. DC Manaman just behind him will be disappointed to have not picked up that position, though he's got to admit it was a decent enough finish. A-Dub gets... A-Dub? What? No, he's P3. What are you on? Dace gets P7 after penalties applied as he jumps ahead of Electric Blade, who gets relegated all the way to 10th. In between the Mercedes sandwich, actually I suppose it wouldn't be a Mercedes sandwich, the sandwich is named after the filling usually. Hightower and Shreya Coleslaw. The filling behind those two particular pieces of bread. Calibub driver of the day.
Hard as that.
You know, I need an ending screen as well. I've got my starting soon screen and it looks fantastic. Got a little bit of music on there as well. It's all really chillaxed. I don't have an ending off screen. Something that I'm going to have to do. Here is Scornsy approaching the podium to celebrate. Woohoo! There he goes. Yay! Woohoo! Red Bull 1-2. A-Dub P3, solid result for the Ferrari driver as well. Best of the rest. And there go the celebrations here in Eastern Europe. A very eventful Hungarian Grand Prix as far as Hungarian Grand Prix go as well, especially. Very entertaining. And I hope you guys didn't get dragged down too much by the completely worn down and exasperated commentator who's trying but has very little to give. I will say good night to you all now. I hope you all have a fantastic week and a fantastic night, and see you for your Coleslaw Cup next week, where we will have interviews this time, I promise. Yo, do you want to hear some music? Look, starting to do music.